Good morning, guys. We're 5 days into a rest week. Every single year, I always take at least 1 week completely off the bike, no structured training, nothing, just to allow my body to reset, allow my mind to reset so I can go in to the next season highly motivated and my body is ready to take on all the training that my training plan gives me. So right now, we have a big day today. Every single day during my rest week, I still like to do some sort of activity, whether it be hiking, walking, swimming, playing a sport. I still like to get active because I enjoy being outside and I enjoy getting active, makes me feel good, and connecting with nature, it just makes me feel good overall. So I'm gonna take you through my full day of eating on a rest day. And it's important to note that my days of eating on rest days are completely different than when I'm training, because when I'm training, obviously we're burning a ton of carbohydrates. Our body's using a lot more resources than when we're, not training, because we don't use as many carbs when you're just going on a hike. That's pretty much burning fat. So I'm going to show you exactly how I eat on a rest day. And the first thing I always like to do, when I wake up, come outside, we got the sun getting in the eyes so we can reset our circadian rhythm. But I always take 32 ounces of water and some salt, okay? So normally I just get a pinch of salt and throw it in my mouth, but for the purpose of this video, I put it in a cap. I only get like a little bit, and this is literally what I do. We drink that, and then I chug this. And it's so important to start your morning off with this routine because most people don't understand and don't realize that when you're sleeping, you're actually losing a lot of water through not only sweat, but also just breathing in general. And with sweat, you also lose electrolytes. So every single morning, your body is partially dehydrated and you don't have all the water you need in your body. And that's really important because, especially for cyclists, because if you wake up you don't hydrate and you have a ride in the morning, you're gonna start that ride off dehydrated. You're not gonna feel good on that ride, and we don't want that. And even if you don't have a ride early in the morning, just living your life in general, you're gonna have low energy in the morning if you don't rehydrate. But if you do rehydrate, you're gonna get your blood plasma volume back to normal, which is essential for blood circulation. It's gonna allow your blood to flow throughout your body. It's pretty much gonna turn it on in the morning. And you're gonna feel your energy is gonna be way better. And also it's gonna help with nutrient absorption and just getting the nutrients to every place that you need to get it to. And like I said, this is probably the most important step of my morning because it just gives me so much energy. It gives me mental clarity. And you guys need to incorporate this because, it takes 2 minutes to go fill up a glass of water, drink it, go fill up another glass of water, drink it, take a pinch of salt, throw it in the back of your mouth, and wash it down. And you guys, I promise, if you do that, you're gonna feel amazing. But anyways, today we're gonna be eating 2 meals, and then we also have a activity planned at night. We're going on a long hike. So hopefully I can find a good route for the hike. I still haven't found that, but we're probably gonna do 5 or 6 miles. It's gonna be a decent hike, and then we're gonna go cook some food on the hike in the middle of the woods, so that should be fun. All right, guys, the meal's finished. I already drank half my milk and ate 2 eggs, but for breakfast, I guess you can call it lunch. It's noon right now, and I'm only eating 2 meals today, but I made 5 eggs, 4 ounces of salmon. I got a banana, frozen blueberries, 100% cacao, raw honey, a green kiwi, and then we got raw milk right here. So this meal right here is so powerful to start your day off with. Number one, we got a ton of healthy fats in here. That's what fuels your brain. So you're gonna have mental clarity all throughout the day. If you just wake up and eat carbs, first of all, it's gonna spike your blood sugar. You're gonna have an energy crash. But second of all, you're gonna get brain fog because most of the carbs in the US, they're just refined and they've got a ton of sugar. And on top of that, they're just sprayed with glyphosate. So we wanna stay away from that. So, you know, all the fruit we got right here is organic, trying to stay away from that. But basically we have 70 grams of protein, around 50 grams of fat, and then right around 100 grams of carbs. So today I'm gonna have around 200 to 250 grams of carbs just to fuel my bodily functions, and also because I am doing a hike today, so I might burn a little bit of carbs on that. But starting off with the eggs, you know, eggs, it's a staple. It has to be a staple to your diet. You know, they're one of the most micronutrient dense foods on the world. Amazing B vitamins, amazing source of choline, amazing source of your fat soluble vitamins. And it is just a great source of, you know, cholesterol, which is, as you guys know, a precursor to testosterone. And testosterone is so important for cyclists. A lot of you guys probably have no idea what your testosterone is. And that's because you're not a pro cyclist, because pro cyclists get blood work done and they all are in check with their testosterone. So start eating a diet that is good for your testosterone, because especially nowadays, you know, your grandpa probably has more testosterone than you and he's 80 years old. And it's honestly just, it's messed up. But yeah, then we got the salmon, great source of protein and omega-3s. Huge problem in today's world. You know, people don't have omega-3s in their diet, and omega-3s are amazing for your brain, but they're also a great anti-inflammatory. The less inflamed your body is, the better you recover, the better you perform, and the better you feel. So we need to try to eliminate as much inflammation as possible. Then moving on to the kiwi. This is the most micronutrient dense fruit in the world. It also tastes amazing. If you want to do a gold kiwi, you can. It has, I think, twice as much vitamin C in it. But always eat the skin on, and just make sure you get organic. So yeah, ton of vitamin C in here. It's covering literally pretty much every single vitamin. You're getting a good amount of it. And then moving on to what I like to call my dessert, you know, frozen blueberries. We got a ton of antioxidants, 100% cacao, even more antioxidants. And then we got some theobromine in there, which is a natural stimulant, just like caffeine. And we got the raw honey on top just for flavor, some more carbs, and, you know, the antioxidants. And then banana, a little bit of potassium, a little bit of magnesium, and it tastes great, especially when it's cold and smashed up. And then right here, we got the milk, you know, great source of fat, great source of protein, and there's also carbs in here, and it's a great source of calcium. And a lot of people are deficient in calcium, so this is gonna help you have strong bones. This is why when I crashed the other day going 35 miles an hour, you know, I didn't break any bones, I didn't have anything happen to my bones. And the EMS literally told me, anyone else out there, like, they probably would have broken a bone. But since I'm high test and, you know, I get my calcium in, I'm cracked, so I didn't break any bones. But yeah, now I'm gonna eat this meal before it gets cold. We just got back from the store. We got our supplies for what we're gonna eat on our hike tonight. Got a ribeye steak. We got grass-fed beef skirt steak. So we got 3 pounds of meat right here. We're gonna eat that. I'm also bringing, you know, an avocado. Our other supplies we're bringing, the cast iron, bringing some salt, some butter, and then we got utensils, some tongs, and we got the silverware. And I'm also bringing, actually I'm not bringing them, I'm eating these on the car ride there, because up until this point, I've had like, you know, 60 grams of carbs today. So I'm gonna get 75 more grams of carbs right before the hike with my favorite food, the jewel dates.
He's a frog. Is this for Sir Cycles?
Yes. You're in it, London.
Yes.
We just started the hike. We're doing like 2.5 miles out, and then we're gonna build up a fire. We got some steaks in the backpack, and yeah, we brought the cast iron pan, so we're gonna cook our steaks. We also, we just caught a frog. He's trying to escape. It's my little pet. But yeah, we're gonna knock out this first leg, and then we'll get the steaks cooking. We made it to the spot. As you can see, we already got the fire cooking up. Literally took us like 3 minutes because we're masters at this. But as you can see, we're kind of in like a canyon. That's so we don't catch the forest on fire, because we don't want to do a forest fire, you know, that's kind of messed up. Anyways, we're gonna let the fire burn for a little bit. We're gonna get some hot coals, and then we have these big logs that we should be able to you know, take our cast iron pan, plop the steak on there, put it on there, and we're gonna cook some steaks. My boy, he's got some potatoes. We got some limes. You know, we're gonna have a feast. And yeah, this is gonna be dinner. And then we're gonna eat dinner and then hike back to the car. It's gonna be amazing. So as you guys know, I'm only eating 2 meals today, and there's a couple of reasons for that. And I just wanna talk about the daily structure of eating and how you guys should think about it. Okay, so nutrition is so important for cyclists because it's how we fuel our bodies to be able to perform on the bike and to recover. Nutrition is the number one most important thing for cyclists to focus on, even before training. I think it's more important than training. You have to get your nutrition locked in before you lock in your training. Because why would you want to lock in your training before locking in your nutrition? Your gains are going to be slower, your progress is going to be slower, and you're going to feel bad while doing it. So that's why me and all my elite clients, we get their nutrition locked in, and then we get their training locked in, so they recover as fast as possible, they progress as fast as possible, and they feel amazing while doing it. And when you're thinking about daily structure, okay, there's a couple different options. So we have a recovery day, a race, a workout, zone 2, or a rest day. Pretty much how it works is your protein and your fat, they should be staying pretty stable for every single day. Maybe you're gonna get a little bit more protein and fat on days where you're doing bigger rides just because you're eating more and because you need to fuel your body with more micronutrients. But in terms of carbs, that's where you really need to pay attention. Carbs is the thing that we want to change. So for a rest day like I'm doing today, I'm only gonna eat around 200 grams of carbs to fuel my day. And that's because I'm not training. I don't need any more carbs than that. And, in terms of a day with a race, I'm eating upwards of 700 grams of carbs. So let's start from rest days. Like I just said, 200 grams of carbs. Then we go into recovery days. This is during training. And this is let's say you did a workout, then you're doing a rest day. You want to get 300 to 350 grams of carbs, maybe even more depending on the day you did, because you want to make sure that your glycogen stores are always topped off. Even the slightest dips they hinder your performance. So you always want to make sure your glycogen's topped off. And then, so for recovery days, 300 to 350 grams. Zone 2, this is how I like to do it. 300 to 350 grams off the bike. And then you fuel with however many grams of carbohydrates you do or you need on the bike. Okay? And then if you are doing 5 hours of it, I'd up off the bike carbs to 400 to 500 grams. It kind of all depends. You just have to get a good feel for it. And then for race, it's pretty much the same as zone 2, and then workouts pretty much the same because you're not going to be doing a 5-hour workout most likely. If you are, you're probably going to eat 800, 900 to 1,000 grams of carbs on that day just because you're burning through so much glycogen on your ride. But here's what I want to also talk about. So we got the carbs down, but now we need to get our meal timing down. So for rest days, like I'm doing now during a rest week, I'm only eating 2 meals a day, okay? And the reason is because, number one, it saves me time. And number two, I like to feel full and satiated. And when I split my meals up into 3 meals, my meals are smaller and I always kind of feel a little bit hungry all throughout the day. And I don't really like that feeling that much. I like to feel full. So what I do is I wake up, I don't eat breakfast until around noon, or I guess I have lunch. And that's when I have meal number 1, and I do around 1,000 calories, maybe 1,300, a pretty big meal. And then I always do meal number 2, 6 or 7 p.m. and I have 1,000 to 1,500 calories. And those are for rest days during a rest week, okay? I do 2 meals. Now this is where you need to take your meal timing into consideration, is when you're in, a training plan, you're in a base block or a build block. So here's how I like to think about it. There's 4 different options. You have an early morning ride, a morning ride, an afternoon ride, or a night ride. So let's say we have a 2-hour ride for each of these days. Let's say it's a workout too. Let's say we're doing a 3x20 or a 3x20 threshold workout with 10 minutes of rest in between, something like that. if we have it super early in the morning, first thing you're doing when you're waking up is you're just eating like 150 grams of carbs. You can do it through fruit, you know, you can do it through potatoes, you can do it through rice. You just have to get a lot of carbs in. And I don't even like to get in any protein or fats since it's a workout. Just only carbs. And then what you do is you come back from the workout after fueling properly on the bike, and you have breakfast as soon as possible after the workout to give your body the nutrients it needs to repair, rebuild, and regrow stronger than it was before. And you have breakfast right after. And then you're done with your ride. So now you have lunch and dinner that you can just have whenever you want. I always, like, if I have a ride at 7 a.m. and it goes till 9 and I had breakfast by 10, I like to have my lunch around 1 or 2 and then breakfast like 6 or 7. That's how I do it if we had a super early morning. Now, if we had a morning ride, let's say we had a ride at 10 a.m. What you're gonna do is you're gonna wake up early. Ideally, if it's a workout, you're gonna get your meal in 2 to 3 hours before. So if we're rolling out at 10, we wanna get our meal in between 7 and 8 a.m. So this is where we're gonna have a full meal. You know, we're gonna get a lot of carbs in and try to keep the fat and the fiber low. But we're still going to get some protein in there because, you know, this is meal number 1 of the day. We're eating a meal because I don't like to just have like snacks before a 10 a.m. ride because then I feel like, you know, your glycogen's just depleted because you've already been up for like 4 hours doing random stuff. So you eat breakfast. Before that, you can have some like salmon in there to get some protein and keep the fat low. And then, you know, rice and fruit and potatoes, whatever you want, honey. And then you go on your ride, you fuel, you come back, you eat lunch, and then you have dinner before you go to bed. Ride number 3 is like, it's in the afternoon. So let's say 1 p.m. So for this one, I like to do, I'll wake up, have breakfast 2 to 3 hours before the ride. So if it's at 1 p.m., I'm gonna have breakfast at 10 a.m. So I'm gonna stagger my breakfast a little bit at 10 a.m. and then I'm gonna snack all the way up until the ride, fuel on the ride, have lunch right after the ride, and then we're gonna have dinner, you know, 7 or 8 p.m. And then if we have a ride at nighttime, we're gonna have breakfast whenever we wake up, you know, pretty early in the morning, around 10. And then what I like to do is have lunch 2 to 3 hours before your ride, okay? So that's gonna be around, if it's at 5 p.m., we're having lunch around 3 or 2 to 3 p.m., okay? And then we're gonna snack all the way up till the ride, and then when we get back, we have dinner. Pretty much those scenarios are how you have dinner. So for every single ride besides the super early ride in the morning, you have a meal 2 to 3 hours before, you snack up until the ride, and then you have a meal immediately after the ride. That's how I do it for every single ride besides recovery rides. Okay, for recovery rides, what you should do is I actually like to have my meal and then do the recovery ride so it gets the nutrients to my legs because you're spinning your legs. So that's kind of how I like to go about nutrient timing and your daily structure of eating. And it helps so much when you know how to structure your day around your eating and around your bike ride because you feel good, you get the nutrients when you need them, and you're never having like gut problems, okay? A lot of people, what they'll do is they'll eat a huge meal, go do a ride, and they're like, they feel terrible. Like, yeah, you just ate 1,000 calories, a ton of fat, a ton of protein, a ton of fiber before you got on the bike. Like, your gut's struggling, like digestion's slow, nutrient absorption's slow, and your body can't get the energy it needs to the places it needs to get it to because you just ate a ton of food and, you know, you're slowing all that stuff down. So nutrient timing is super important. But yeah, let's go eat this meal now. Boys are prepping.
Ready? I'm gonna trick shot this piece of fat into the pan.
Bro, our steak is huge.
Did I make it?
Yeah, bro, I know. You're gonna have to like cut.
Pull it out, pull it out, pull it out.
Hey, this is what we're eating today. Steak number 1 of 5 is complete. Making the skirt steak, absolutely beautiful. We got the potatoes, the ribeye, 2 more steaks on the pan. Guys, it doesn't get better than this. On your rest week, your recovery days, you know, go do a hike, bring some steaks, bring a pan, get a fire going, cook a steak and eat it. This is high tested shit. We made it back from the hike and we're having my last snack of the day. This is what I love to do right before I go to bed. Grab a cup of frozen blueberries. Fill it up a little too much. I like to drink that. This has got to be the best snack because you can snack on it forever and you're going to be fine because this is only like, this is maybe like 100 calories. But yeah, so, just going over my day of eating today. I had 2 meals and 2 snacks. Okay, so, I woke up, didn't have anything until right around noon, 1 p.m. And then, as you saw, we had my first meal of the day, eggs, salmon, blueberries, banana. We had a kiwi, some honey, and some milk. Pretty big size meal, but since it's all like, real food, it's only 1,000 calories. No crazy seed oils in there to, make a super small thing, like somehow 500 calories. Oh yeah, and we had cacao. So yeah, great breakfast, super, super dense in nutrients. Going lower on the carbs because I like to have mental clarity in the beginning of the day. I feel like the more carbs I eat early in the morning, it kind of just gives me brain fog. That's just how I feel personally after trial and error. You may be different. That's okay. And then we had a snack, frozen medjool dates. We had 100 grams of those, so 75 grams of carbs from that. We had that right before the hike. And then we did the hike. We hiked out 2 miles, tracked it on Strava. And then we built a fire in the creek away from all the brush. We built it in a dried out creek, so it's just like rocks and, the ground was moist because when the rain goes in. So we built it in a safe spot, brought the cast iron pan, pulled out the steaks. We seasoned it with some thyme, some salt. We brought the lime, put the cast iron on the fire, cooked the steaks. It was amazing. I mean, guys, on your rest weeks, you have to do fun stuff, and you also just have to learn, how to make eating like fun. Like that is so much more fun than, going to McDonald's or Chipotle and just like, I don't know, like, especially if that's what you like doing and you're with people who like doing that thing also, it's amazing. I went with two of my best friends and we went on a hike, cooked some steaks. We ate the steaks, ate the potatoes. Everything tasted great. We walked back and yeah, 2 hours later, I'm back, about to get ready for bed. I'm about to plan out my day, journal a little bit, and all while I'm doing that, sipping on my, blueberries. And I just want to talk about like eating this way is so powerful because you get all your micronutrients, you're hitting your protein, you're hitting your fat, you're also getting your carbs in. In the way of this eating just makes you feel so much better. And I'm not gonna pretend like I don't enjoy things like, ice cream or, French fries, stuff like that. Like I enjoy the taste of all those, but what I don't enjoy about that is how I feel after. I feel like I want to go take a nap. I feel like I want to be lazy. I get brain fog, my energy's low. I don't even feel full in my stomach. And that's why ever since I started eating like this, I've never even thought about switching back or going back on it because this just fuels my lifestyle that I want to live. I want to be energetic. I want to feel good. I want to be happy. I want to feel full. I want to have a good relationship with food. And this way of eating allows me to have all that. And, it just feels amazing because not only am I getting becoming a better person in life and feeling better in life, but I'm also becoming so much better of a cyclist because I'm actually giving myself all the micronutrients that my body needs, which so many people are deficient, so many every single day, which literally destroys their performance. And, that's why I was able to progress so quickly and I'm better than 95% of cyclists is because I understand how to fuel my body. It's not that I really didn't even put in the work on the bike. I don't have crazy hours. I only average 10 hours a week. I just know how to fuel my body. So I progress and I adapt way better than everyone else. And even though people are out there doing 20 hours a week consistently, I'm out here doing 10 hours a week inconsistently, and you know, I'm way better than them. And it's because I understand how to fuel my body. So guys, I hope you found this entertaining. And just remember, this is a rest day. I did no riding and I'm in the middle of a rest week. So my carbs are way lower than what they normally are. But you know, this is how I normally eat. I kind of just incorporate more foods alongside of this in my normal day. But you know, it is so important to eat this way. And if you guys want to learn, you know, how to eat like me, how to eat so you always have energy, how to eat so you recover insanely fast, and how to eat so you always feel good on the bike, and how to eat so you're always progressing way quicker than everyone else around you, click on the link in this description and I'll see if you're a good fit for my one-on-one coaching. But yeah, that's it for this video. I will see you guys in the next one.